Thank you for turning to 10, your news leader. 10 News Conference with Gene Valicenti continues right now.
Can you say to me right now, Gene, I want to assure you that soccer stadium will be built?
I
you
believe
say that?
Where I sit right now, I have full confidence that that soccer stadium will be built, and there'll be a season next year, and staff is being put on place right now. Very confident in that. Not as confident as Superman, but that doesn't mean that Superman is not going to happen.
All right, so this is the story that keeps on giving. Despite some questions about funding for the Tidewater Landing soccer stadium at Pawtucket, the project is moving forward, and you just heard the governor talk about it, saying the season next year will happen, and he said it with confidence. Here in studio to talk about it is Rhode Island Commerce Secretary Liz Tanner. It's been almost a year since you started the job, and you inherited some big shoes to fill, I would say. Welcome.
Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. So I've seen some construction starting to pick up again. It stopped, it's back. So where are we with Tidewater?
Tidewater's in a great place. You know, the governor's right. We do have a situation where everything's going to be back up and running with the construction soon. We're getting closer and closer to closing. We're really excited about the possibility, and we do expect soccer to be, you know, at Bryant at first, but back in Pawtucket in 2025.
A lot of people, though, aren't so confident. People who keep hearing there's funding, there's no funding. How do you ensure folks that there is? Because the interest rates still keep going up, as far as we know, with the construction loans, which tend to be adjustable. So how do you keep saying to people, don't worry, pack your patience?
You know, the developer has received their commitments. We're looking to do the bonds and the closing at the same time, and the developers put in over $30 million. And
that's
I think
extra?
For their base piece of it. And I think one thing that's really important for the taxpayers to understand is their dollars are the last dollars in. So until there's a certificate of occupancy issued, no state dollars go into the project.
Are you sick of talking about Tidewater yet?
Never. It's very exciting.
It's important. It's important to taxpayers for sure. All right, let's move on to the Superman building. So there was so much fanfare for a period of time that we were going to get more affordable housing at different adjustable rates in addition to market rate. It was going to transform Kennedy Plaza. And now it's like crickets. So where are we with that?
So, you know, the governor mentioned in that brief clip there, it is in a tough spot. We have a situation where it's caught up, as many projects across the country are, as far as interest rates, inflation, supply chain. It's a big, huge building with a lot of work that needs to be done. We continue to work every day on it to make sure that we can spend those taxpayer dollars the best can, but it's a tough situation that it's in.
I mean, how much more money do we need to get the developer to say, okay, we can do this now without taking on too much risk?
You know, we spend every week talking to them about how can we bring the costs down, and so that's what we're really aiming to do, is have a well-funded, great project.
If you have a crystal ball, what would be your goal for when we could see people moving into that building, if at all possible?
You know, it is the state's,
5 years?
one of the state's
More?
most iconic buildings. We would love to see it as soon as possible.
Okay, so the confidence is there from Commerce. And when it comes to development dollars, where are those dollars coming from? Is it rebuild tax credits?
So the state has committed in the past through rebuild, through other mechanisms, and then of course the developer, and then the city's been a part of the process as well.
All right, so all of that needs to keep adjusting, though, I'm guessing, with the pro forma as we go forward?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so you seem to be confident about Tidewater and Superman at some point. All right, we're going to hold you to that. Let's talk about tourism, because there's been a big push. Over the years, Rhode Island, quite frankly, hasn't been that good at tourism when it comes to advertising how beautiful this state is. A lot of people have been critical about it. But we're seeing some new ads come out, especially during the Sunrise Show when it comes to the airport. How are you pushing for that, and where is it coming from, the drive? You
know, we are very grateful to the General Assembly for allocating dollars, as well as a federal EDA grant. We received some tourism dollars, and it gives us a real opportunity to push the state in ways that we haven't been able to do in the past. We know that lots of Rhode Islanders like to travel out of Rhode Island to other places that our airlines go to, but we've never ever targeted having those folks come to Rhode Island. And so that's what we're doing right now with the Stuffy campaign, with our Gilded Age campaign.
All
of
local,
those things.
And then Breeze being here as well seems to be a big push too as well.
As a hub, our state's first hub for an airline.
So far, so good?
So far, so good.
All right, that's some good news. Now, a lot of people have this idea of what commerce is that it builds brands and partnerships with developers, but you want people to know also it's about working with small businesses too. What do you want to get out there this morning as far as if you're a small business, you're frustrated with inflation, keeping costs down, profits high, how can you help?
You know, Allison, people want to talk about Tidewater, they want to talk about Superman. Those are good, big projects, but the reality is that the Commerce Corporation works with small businesses all day, every day. That's by far the majority of the work that we do. And we have so many resources and programs and technical assistance that we can provide to them. We want them to have a relationship with us so that they can call us on a regular basis and say, what's available for me? So whether you're starting, growing, whether you're having some problems or you're looking at closing, we're the resource for you to figure out what's out there for your business.
What are you hearing mostly from small businesses? Is it the cost of materials, supply chain, I'm guessing?
We hear a lot about hiring. We do hear about costs. We do hear about energy costs. Those are probably the three things we hear post-pandemic.
Infrastructure.
That they're talking about. And so we work really hard to solve all of the problems that they have and provide them with so many of the resources that are mostly free out there for small businesses.
All right, and you're right in Providence, and the door is open. Okay.
That's accurate.
Coming up on 10 News Conference, we're going to pick up with Rhode Island Commerce Secretary Liz Tanner in just a few minutes. Welcome back, 10 News Conference. We continue now with Rhode Island Commerce Secretary Liz Tanner. And you have a long background in business, too, coming from DBR, so this seems like a natural step for you to take over commerce. All right, let's talk about some video that I'd love to show some of our viewers, because I know what a stuffy is, and the idea is we want more people, right, around the country to come to Rhode Island for something like this. Tell us a little bit about what went into this and how you think we're getting a return on these advertising dollars.
I mean, the stuffy is iconic. It tells you a lot about the seafood industry in Rhode Island, how the clams are gathered to make the stuffies. It's a very exciting piece of special, unique part of what makes Rhode Island, Rhode Island. You know, so we're really excited about the opportunity to let the rest of the country know about stuffies in Rhode Island, and we hope that one of the things they'll do is come here to eat so many of them. We've already seen a lot of interest in it.
You have, yeah, tell me about that. So what does it look like in other airports around the country?
So they're putting it in there. It's going to be in Los Angeles and Detroit. It starts in Detroit soon, and then Baltimore and one other. And so it's an opportunity to be able to showcase both what Rhode Island does for food, but also from economic development, from our fishermen's perspective.
And it also plugs into the airport, I suppose, if you're flying to TF Green now, right? It's been a complete revamp when it comes to the restaurant scene within the airport, too.
Oh,
as far
fantastic.
as local folks getting to showcase their local products.
And of course, that's so exciting. When you travel away, I would imagine that you like to try the local
Fit it all
fare,
in, right?
and that's what we try to do here in Rhode Island.
Have you seen a big push with Breeze coming in here as far as economic dollars go, having a hub here?
Oh, we have. You know, they're bringing lots of jobs to Rhode Island, but they're also bringing lots of new flights for us. And so it's an opportunity to really seek not just Rhode Islanders and Massachusetts and other New Englanders going other places, but to have others come and visit us.
For instance, LA, direct to LA is kind of a big deal for folks. So was that one of the reasons why you're plugging into those airports too?
Absolutely, and we have what we call our Gilded Age installation there. And so we'll be promoting the Newport Mansions there as well.
I want to ask you a little bit about McCoy Stadium, too, going back to Pawtucket, because we know it's most likely going to be the site of a new high school. You know, we have the Woo Sox on all the time, too, because they moved, as we all know, with the Paw Sox leaving. Have you been involved with that at all? Because we've heard about this, like, independent investment coming in. Potentially, we put the high school on hold, although Mayor Grebian says no way. Where are you with those discussions? Can we save baseball and get a high school, too, somewhere in the city?
You know, Mayor Grebian and I have been talking about it, what the possibilities are. Rhode Island's always ready, willing, and able to be there if we're needed, but we're still in the planning stages, I think, right now at the city.
Were you surprised when you heard from a private investor coming in and saying, I'll give you millions?
If anybody wants to come in and offer millions, we're certainly not going to turn that conversation down.
All right, so it's something you're definitely involved with the mayor. It's not like it's independent to the city. All right, so as you're coming up on a year, it's your chance right now to reflect on, pick 3 things that you're proud of that you got done and 3 things that you want to get to in the new fiscal year as Commerce Secretary.
Thank you so much. You know, one of the things we really pride ourselves on is listening to what the businesses need. And we have a great track record of changing laws, changing regulations, and mostly improving processes to make it easier to do business. So that's something we've done and want to continue to do. So we really would love to hear from your viewers as to what their concerns are. I'd say second, some of the programs that we're working on are really exciting. We have our Minority Business Accelerator.
MBEs?
MBEs, to grow the MBE space for both minority and women-owned businesses. And we haven't had that opportunity in the past, so we're really excited about Governor McKee passing legislation to put that in the budget. And then finally, we still also work with our municipalities. And so when we look at our Main Street programs, our site readiness programs, these are foundational for them to really think about what change they want to make to improve what those facades look like, how their streets look, and improving it all. So those are probably 3 of the things that are most exciting right now.
Okay, so that's on the agenda for sure. You know, we're wedged between, obviously, Massachusetts and Connecticut. We always seem to come so low on where is it friendly to do business, but I'm guessing you obviously want to change that, especially in New England.
We spend a lot of times actually looking at the physical reports that are out there. We know that we've done a lot to improve small business and the business friendliness in the state. Sometimes the small state reports just don't lean in our favor, but we continue to work on that to do what we can.
Why is Rhode Island a good place to do business then, if you had to pitch it?
You always can reach out to somebody. There's there's no shortage of way to connect with somebody. If you call the Rhode Island Commerce Corporation, you're going to be able to connect to whoever you want to. You're going to be able to meet with whoever you need to have a conversation about what you're looking to do. And that's one of the special parts of Rhode Island.
When we talk about minority business enterprises, I think a lot of people get overwhelmed because they don't really understand what it is. So it's working with veterans, women. Can you explain that a little bit? Because there are special programs where you can get different grants that you qualify for. And I think this is a good time to let people know about what that is to open up the door. It also creates for a more inclusive business environment, right?
Well, for sure. And you get different kinds of certifications. And if you can qualify for that, then you essentially have a better chance of receiving sometimes a municipal or a state or a federal contract. And so we have not only a program to help you get that certification, but also a program called APEX through the federal government that will show you how to get that done, who will show you how to fill out that paperwork to really make yourself attractive to working with government.
Now, you just got back from the Dominican Republic too, correct? Can you tell us a little bit about that trip and why it was important for Rhode Islanders?
You know, it was really amazing. I think one thing that people don't realize is that Rhode Island has the highest percentage of Dominican Americans than any other state in the country at just over 5%. So when we were down there, I couldn't go 5 feet without running into somebody who knew somebody from Rhode Island. So many of their nieces, their nephews, their children go to school at Bryan or Roger Williams or Brown. But even just the connections that they have with family up here was really incredible. We had 5 businesses that went down there with us. They came back with 6 potential orders.
Really?
So it was really productive.
In what field?
We had travel and tourism, we had jewelry manufacturer, medical devices, a wide variety of kinds of businesses, and they were really excited to make the trip.
Diversifying, great.
And it was very fruitful for them.
All right, and they got cut short, as we know, by the hurricane, but everybody's okay. All right, I want to touch on one more thing for sure as well when it comes to working with the General Assembly. There's ups and downs with everything. I know Governor McKee always talks about collaboration. So how is it going for you so far since Secretary Pryor moved on?
You mentioned that I had my background at the DBR. It's been so helpful. So I have had a great long-standing relationship with the General Assembly members, with other people in the cabinet, other state employees, and I was also with the Commerce Corporation before I was at the Department of Business Regulation. So it's really great to be able to come back to see so many of the employees that I got to work with before. So it's just a continuation of the work I've done, and we're really excited about the future.
Now's your opportunity. If there are some folks in the General Assembly who you want to have a better working relationship with, what's your pitch to them as far as reach out to me? Here's what we want to do together, because everybody wants a healthy business environment, right, for our state. We can all at least agree on that.
Well, I think it's safe to say that pretty much anybody would love to make sure that they have a good relationship with the chair of finance, because that's where you're ultimately looking at the dollars. So I am blessed to have a relationship with Chairman Abney and others as far as being able to say, here's a good program, here's the data behind it that shows it's a good program, and we want to receive dollars to advance it in the future. And so that's what I'd love to prove in the future.
So I'm getting the sense you want people to know the door is open.
Of course, always. The door is always open at Commerce.
All right. Well, we appreciate your time for sure, Liz. Thank you for being here.